City Talks with Reuben Abati.
City Talks with Reuben Abati on your number one lifestyle station, City 1051 FM. On this show, we talk about stories of political and human interest that affect us all as Nigerians and as members of a global human community. Today, we'll be discussing Vice President Yemi Osinbajo's declaration and his ambition to run for the position of President of Nigeria in 2023. On Monday, the Vice President announced his readiness to take over from President Muhammadu Buhari next year, promising to continue with the legacies of the President. Since then, his declaration has been generating mixed reactions, particularly from those who think Professor Osinbajo is the best man for the job, and also from those who are insinuating that he may have betrayed the man who nominated him for his current position. And that's talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is also interested in the number one seat in Nigeria. To guide us through this, we have a special guest, and it is with great pleasure to introduce a member of the Osinbajo campaign group, Osinbajo support group, Engineer Mike Oluwagbemi. Engineer Oluwagbemi is a member of the All Progressives Congress from Ekiti State. He is also a businessman and development strategist. He has 2 degrees in electrical engineering and an MBA from the University of London. He's a licensed professional engineer in the state of Texas and also in Nigeria, and is certified project management professional. He sits on the board of many companies, as well as the Rural Electrification Agency of Nigeria. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700 1051 1051. You can also leave a comment on our WhatsApp number 09099164403. And you can also call on social media accounts at City 1051 on Zoom and Facebook. Thank you very much, Engineer Oluwagbemi, for joining us. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abati.
Okay, very quickly, let's get into the conversation. Why do you and your group think that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is the best man for the job?
Thanks once again to your listeners, and thank you for having me on your program. Our group, the Osinbajo Grassroots Organization, which is part of the support groups and a call to the Osinbajo campaign, believe very strongly that Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the current Vice President of Nigeria, having displayed strong leadership skills and capacity as the Vice President of Nigeria and the Chairman of the National Economic Council, and also briefly when he served as the Acting President of Nigeria. We believe that having shown this capacity, his intelligence, his capacity to handle multiple and multi-faceted problems, we think is the kind of person Nigeria needs today. Even more so is that he enjoys a very loving and trusting relationship with the president. And having had a front row seat to the decisions the president have made in the last 7 years, is in best position to complete some of the hard work that have already started and to continue some of the great works that the president has done, especially in the area of infrastructure and agriculture. Last but not the least is that he is a proud successor to the progressive heritage that dates all the way back to Chief Obafemi Awolowo in the Southwest, where folks have decided or have enamored themselves to promote the ideals of social progressivism. And we see his ideals, for example, in starting the social investment program and advocating for it in the first term, and helping to ensure that it sees life, which became the largest social investment program in the history of Africa, and which continues to feed millions of children every day in Nigeria and supports lots of graduates. We think those kind of policies are the policies that we need to bring Nigeria from where it was to where it needs to be. So that's the reason why we're advocating for the vice president. We are not saying any of the other candidates, be it Governor Umahi, Asiwaju Tinubu, Governor Amechi. I'm not saying that they are bad people. I mean, that is not our proposition at all. Far from it. What we are saying is that the best man for the job, which, by the way, in an opinion poll that came out in January of 2022, that was conducted by NGOs and CSOs, 6 months from July of last year to December of last year, Nigerians themselves in that opinion poll say they feel the vice president should be the rightful successor to the president, not just on the ticket, but even in Aso Rock itself. So I think all of these factors favors the vice president, and we look forward to a happy debate. We look forward to a debate of ideas among brethren instead of any kind of personal mudslinging and fights that can imperil and make our party at any kind of disadvantage.
Okay, well, I get your point. I mean, you've made your case, but there are persons who do not agree. The other day, Reno Makri was online. He also granted an interview to Arise TV in which he said, look, he doesn't think that Vice President Osinbajo is qualified in any way, that a man who has never managed any business in his life cannot manage Nigeria. And he was also saying that the Vice President, as chairman of the National Economic Council, has not been able to make any difference. And he says he has no achievements to boast about, perhaps beyond the CV. What do you say to that?
Reno Mokri is not a member of the APC. So if I just want to leave it at that, I will leave it at that. But I will respond to it for what it's worth. You know, he doesn't get a vote, so he doesn't get to decide who we choose as our party's candidate. But that said, he mentioned and said that you are quoting him. I think I saw a little bit of snippets of what he said, that the vice president has never managed a business in his life. He will be incorrect, because the vice president was the founding and senior partner at Simon Cooper, and that law firm was so successful that it actually was able to deliver the first class action suit against a multinational in Nigeria, Pfizer, where it secured settlement of millions of dollars in order for the polio case that was ongoing in Kano there. So it's a company, a law firm is a company, it's a business. And the vice president was a very good manager of that law firm that made a lot of millionaires out of many lawyers. So I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Secondly, the vice president has managed lives as a teacher. Even you yourself, you did mention that he was your teacher. The vice president has managed millions of lives, thousands of lives. Please, talking about businesses, the most you can manage, most big business in Nigeria, we have 1,000, 2,000 people as staff members. To be a professor of law, that are not just in University of Lagos, but in various other universities across Lagos and across the world, and to do so meritoriously means that you have taught a lot of people. And what better job, what more noble work to prepare you for leading a country than to teach people and to be a teacher of men. So I do not I don't think that is also important. The vice president, beyond also being a professor and being a lawyer, an accomplished one for that matter, an SAN, a professor of law that does not have a doctorate degree. So you know that he knows what he's doing. The vice president is also, as you all know, a man of the cassock. He's a pastor. He manages, he intervenes in people's personal lives, makes them to feel good about themselves and to prepare them for the next world. Geez, what better preparation can you have for the highest office of the land? A man who is empathetic, a man who has shown capacity, a man who has taught men, and beyond that, a man who has managed successful businesses. Now, talking about his stewardship of the national economy, people always misconstrue what the work of as chairman of the National Economic Council is versus being the vice president of Nigeria. As a very ardent student of law, despite being an engineer, I'm a constitutional student. I have the constitution in my vehicle and I read it every minute, and I understand that constitution back to back because I'm a citizen of Nigeria. The statutory role of the vice president as the chairman of the National Economic Council is to coordinate federal economic policies with state governments, which are the state governors and the FCT ministers, who are the members of that council, along with some other statutory members. His work is that of coordination. His work is not that of making economic policy or implementing them. And he has done an excellent job at that. He was one that convinced the governor to increase their commitment to the National Sovereign Investment Authority, that's the National Sovereign Wealth Fund. That money has been put to use to build the second Niger Bridge. It's been put to use under the Presidential Initiative for Fertilizer. It's been put to use in building the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It's now being put to use to rebuild and to dualize the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano road. So what can you say about that? That he has not coordinated well? Well, he has done his job. He coordinated very well and was able to secure additional money for the National Sovereign Wealth Fund. Despite low oil prices, despite lack of revenue, he was able to convince the governors to come on board. His National Economic Council was able to resolve various issues that had to do with the privatization of discos in Nigeria and the issues that had to do with power assets. This was also a coordination effort. He was able to unlock funding that allowed discos in Nigeria to now be able to get some liquidity to invest in the system. So I can go on and on and on about his achievement at the National Economic Council level. But again, a lot of people misconstrue National Economic Council, which he is the chairman of, and where he's also chairman of the National Council of Privatization by statutory law, with being a member or vice president or the member of the Federal Executive Council that is responsible for national economy, separate from federal economy, separate from the national economic coordination work of the NEC. I know a lot of politicians or political braggadocios would try to take advantage of that confusion. But in this particular instance, I think it's the onus on us as students of law and the Constitution to know what the role actually does and what it cannot do. But I think let us go back to when the vice president was the acting president of Nigeria, when the buck stopped at his desk. And we knew the decisions he took on the economy, and those decisions were good decisions. They allowed the convergence of the naira after it had gone to almost 550, came down to almost 380 overnight because of the decisions he took. Even today, it's still below that 550 had spiked to prior to when he got into office. And the president did not reverse his decision. When he came back, the president saw the wisdom in what he had done and kept that policy, and that policy had substantially at least helped. We are not at 7. Some people had predicted in the second month just before the vice president took over, that naira was heading to 1,000. God help us, the naira is not close to 1,000 today. So we can go on and on and on about what the vice president has done or what the vice president has not done. What is very clear is that what did he do when he was acting president both times? What did he do as a vice president coordinating the national economy? What did he do as a senior partner, founding partner of Simon Cooper law firm, as managing a business and managing men? What did he do as a professor teaching, even the likes of you, Dr. Abati, in the classroom and making sure that you are better people as citizens of this country? What did he do as a pastor and taking care of his flock and engaging with them and making sure that they are better people? That is what counts here, not whether you ascribe to him some functions that is not meant for him. He has done every job that he has been very well.
Okay, Engineer Oluwagbemi, thank you for that. Yes, Professor Yemi Osinbajo was my teacher in Law of Equity and Trust at the Lagos State University here in Lagos. But you talked about him being a man of the cloth. Yes. And that has been a major point of criticism against him, led in particular by Professor Farouk Perogi, who has been very critical of the Vice President's declaration. He just wrote an article in which he says, look, if you select this man as the next president of Nigeria, what you will have is the RCCG-fication of Nigeria. He says the man is an apostle of what he calls entryism, being pursued by the Redeemed Church of Nigeria, an attempt to Christianize Nigeria and alienate Muslims. No, I'm just quoting Professor Farouk Perogi. We mentioned Renu Omokri earlier, so what do you think of some of these criticisms about religion? Because religion is now being used as a weapon against you.
I will say it again, this is another man that is not a member of our party and does not have a vote in the party. So it will be interesting to you that these criticisms are coming from people who is not their business. It shows that they are scared of something. They know that if Yemi Osinbajo becomes the candidate of the APC, then their preferred party is gone. Well, Professor Kurugi is a long-term critic of President Buhari. I don't think President Buhari is reading his articles to determine or to decide who to throw his vote as a delegate in the National Convention of the APC, by the way, just FYI. And this same man told us 7-8 years ago that Buhari is out to Islamize Nigeria, that Nigeria is going to be Islamized, and Nigeria will become Buhari Islamic Republic and all sort of bootlegism that is associated with barnstormers and yellow journalism. Professor Perugi and I used to write together back in the day on the NigeriansInAmerica.com and NigerianVillageSquare.com. And I know this brand of write-ups, and I really do not. I don't really put much credit to it. Unfortunately, it serves the purpose of some people in our primaries, and they've been promoting it. This is somebody who is an avowed hater of the president, and for him to now say that, oh, Buhari had Islamized Nigeria, which I'm yet to be Islamized. I'm a Christian of both Islamic and Christian heritage. My grandfather on my maternal side is a Muslim, and my grandfather on my paternal side is a Christian. So nobody has ever forced me to choose one or two religions. I've worked very closely with both President Buhari and Vice President Osinbajo. None of them have ever asked me before which religion or which church do I worship. None of them have ever asked me that do I have to hold on to certain faiths to work for them. All they see from me is that I'm a good Nigerian. I try to do my best. I'm an employer of labor. I'm a professional, and I love this country, and they give me the job. The president, through his own grace, chose me as a board member of the Rural Electrification Agency. I did not have to pass any religious test. And I don't think the vice president makes decisions that way either, because I've known the vice president since more than 7 years now. He has never for once asked me which church do I worship or which mosque do I go to. This is the vice president that has 6 special advisors who are 6 top staffers of special advisor rank, including his deputy chief of staff, Mr. Reuben, who is a Muslim. They have 6 of them. 4 of them are Muslims. That's Ikpaye, Uwais, Ojudu, and Ahmad Zakari. Of the 4 out of the 6 that report directly to him, those are the only 6 people that report to the vice president in his office. Every other person reports to those guys. So of the 6 people that report to him in his office, 4 of them are Muslims. I don't even know if the remaining 2 that are Christians are members of the RCCG. And if Berugi's claim is that RCCG somehow is going to dominate the government through the vice president, I wonder why RCCG has not dominated the government now that he's vice president. And I also wonder why he has not attacked Asiwaju Tinubu, whose wife is an RCCG pastor as well. That the first lady is going to suddenly, the first lady under his own tenure will suddenly RCG-fy Nigeria. At least we have a history of very powerful first ladies in the Miriam Babangida and the Miriam Abacha, and Tura Yaradua, who determined what happened in Aso Rock. So I don't know. Again, it is a season. It's a season of playing up on scene fairs. I think anytime I agree with Malam El-Rufai, Nasir El-Rufai, that anytime in Nigerian politics that you see Nigerians go to this dark art of discussing religion and ethnicity, it's because they don't have anything to hold on to. They become very desperate. They start throwing up religion. They start using ethnicity to divide people. Like I said, my full name is Michael Olubusayo Jimo Olawumi Oluwagbemi. I am of both Christian and Islamic heritage. But even more importantly is that where I come from, we celebrate Ileya as much as we celebrate Christmas. We are one people. This religion that we are all fighting over was Semitic religions. They are not of our own creation. Both religions came from the same area in Palestine and the Middle East. We should not kill ourselves over them. We should rather use those religions to learn those ethos of that great religion, that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. And I think that's what Yemi Osinbajo has done. When Yemi Osinbajo started the NECT program through his foundation to build home for orphans in Maiduguri who are victims of the Boko Haram onslaught, since he became vice president in 2016. In 2016 when he started that program, and they had built millions of houses and millions of shelters for orphans. Not once did he ask and say, oh, the children that will stay in these houses are going to be Christians or Muslims. When Yemi Osinbajo started out the social investment program, he never had a religious test. He never said this program is even going to be led by a Christian or a Muslim. He just led it by Mrs. Weiss, who is the wife of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, a distinguished woman who I have a very shared friendship with, and I've continued to work with her very closely for free, offering my own service to the nation without being asking for a dime. More recently, she was given the role to start what we call at-risk children program, to try to intervene in the 50 million children that are on the streets in Nigeria that are not going to school. The vice president also started to work with her to incubate another program. And she called me, and I gladly put together a group to also help her to do that job. I didn't ask for any money. I'm just in Nigeria. And she's never asked me about my religion. And Mrs. Weiss, I've never discussed with me that the vice president, in any case, I've asked her about her religion when she's doing her job. So I think we should stop these introducing religion and ethnicity into conversations of politics. Okay,
Engineer Oluwagbemi, I would like to ask you the big question. Vice President Osinbajo has been described as a Judas Iscariot. He has been described as a betrayer. As of is it yesterday or a few days ago, posters were pasted around the city of Abuja to say that this man is betraying the man who made him, his benefactor, the man who created him. Politically, that is, the man who made him vice president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is guilty of serious betrayal. And Reno Omokri, to go back to him, said that, look, this man will betray Muhammadu Buhari president after he may have left the office. What do you have to say to all of that? Because that's a big part of the narrative of his declaration.
You know, Omokri's word, someone who's under various investigation, does not hold much water to me compared to the words of President Buhari, who called and described.
No, it's Omokri under serious investigation. I'm not aware of that.
He was.
Who is investigating him?
He was being investigated related to the campaign funds, and they have issues back and forth with respect to his non-profit. He has issues. I'm not going to get into that. It's not the subject of the conversation.
No, just beware what you say, because Omokri can sue you. You have to be sure of your facts.
I have sufficient lawyers. Yeah, and I can engage on that.
Anyway, but let's just stay on the substance. Let's stay on the substance.
I'm married to a lawyer, so their service is free. The president described his vice president as loyal and capable, and I think that weighs more in my hand. And we know the games a lot of people were playing when the president was, by God's grace, saved from the jaws clause of death when his vice president was acting in his stead, and he served loyally, and Nigerians appreciate him for that. The vice president can only be described as someone who is loyal, first and foremost, of course, to his boss, who he works with, who is the president of Nigeria. And not first and foremost, first to his boss, but even foremost to Nigerian constitution. The constitution of Nigeria, the people of Nigeria are his constituency. There's only two people that were elected by all Nigerians. His mandate is not from Lagos. His mandate is not from Ikene. His mandate is not from Southwest Nigeria. He has votes from every single state of Nigeria that makes up the 15.9 million votes that elected them in 2015, and the 15.47 million votes that elected them in 2019. So he is from the constituency of one, just like the president. They are the only two people that represent all Nigerians. Every other person owe their allegiance to one constituency or one small part of Nigeria or the other. So that is the people to whom he is loyal. The question around Judas Iscariot is quite interesting because it will assume first and foremost that the Vice President, His Excellency Yemi Osinbajo, was part of some kind of a pact. And I always tell my friends on the Baptist side, I call them Baptists, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu camp, that we should try to conduct this debate, internal debate, with an eye at knowing that ultimately the party will choose one candidate, and we all have to support that candidate at the general election. We should cease all kind of personal diatribes and venom, and we should focus on promoting the ideals of the candidates we think can do the job better. I know it is very difficult, especially when you feel that your own candidate is not strong. Then naturally you will run into ad hominem attacks, which can be counterproductive. In the case of the vice president, they talk about, he was made by Asiwaju Tinubu, for God's sake. He was a professor of law as at 1999. And I always like to remind everybody, analogy, because it's very good to always use analogies because people can get it. The vice president was selected for a state office, Attorney General of the Federation of Lagos State, by Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu. I would draw an analogy to the relationship between Olusegun Obasanjo and President Muhammadu Buhari. Olusegun Obasanjo was the head of state of Nigeria.
Please, can you call that name with some respect? Chief Olusegun Obasanjo.
Oh yeah, Chief.
Or former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Well, I'm using all their first names. So I'm using Yemi Osinbajo. I'm using everybody without appellation. We are talking politics, so let's just remove the title so that we don't make it bogus. You know, I acknowledge him. He's a statesman, and I'm using Muhammadu Buhari as well. So I'm not using anybody with appellation. So I'm just having a normal discourse. But Olusegun Obasanjo, or President Olusegun Obasanjo, and President Buhari have a very interesting relationship. President Buhari was selected by then head of state, General Olusegun Obasanjo, to be his Minister of Petroleum and Chairman of NNPC, his first national office. Right. In 1979, when Olusegun Obasanjo was leaving office, he saved the career of Muhammadu Buhari by not retiring him. He could have. And he left office, and Muhammadu Buhari in 1983, or some would say 1984, since he formally took power on the 2nd of January 84, became the head of state because of that. Fast forward to 2003, someone that gave him his first national profile job that ultimately led to him to become president because he did not remove him from military service. President Buhari ran against Olusegun Obasanjo on the platform of the ANPP as his first critical opponent. In fact, President Buhari's entire reference of leadership politically, not military side, entire reference of political leadership is running against Olusegun Obasanjo. When you ask him, what do you think about 16 years of PDP? He says failure. Who is he indicting? He's indicting Olusegun Obasanjo. Have you ever heard anybody on Olusegun Obasanjo scream betrayal before? No. We're talking about the national office. We're talking about the office of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the richest black nation in the world, the biggest black nation in the world by population. We are not discussing being selected for the chairman of Ikoyi Club. We are discussing the presidency here.
No, Ikoyi Club 1938, very prestigious club. Even the chairmanship of the club is a big battle.
It is.
Don't put down our club. Don't put down our club.
It does not compare to the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
No, the chairman is like the president of Nigeria. They carry on.
You know? And then in 2007, the same Buhari contested against Obasanjo's chosen candidate, Umaru Yar'Adua. People do not remember this. Umaru Yar'Adua and Musa Yar'Adua's father was the first Republic minister, and Buhari lived in their house. He ate their food. They are both from Katsina. He grew up in the Yar'Adua family house. I know this because the chairman of my board today is the younger brothers of both of them, Colonel Yar'Adua, and he told me this in person. He said he lived in my house, and he ran against the younger Yar'Adua in 2007 and against his own boss who gave him the first office. Was there any mention of betrayal? No. The presidency of Nigeria is too important. It's too prestigious. It's too dear to the black race and to the entire universe. Because you are talking about the leadership of the black race, not just the leadership of Nigeria, not just the leadership of Africa. You cannot have a conversation about black people in the world if you don't bring Nigeria into that meeting. I don't care if you call yourself G8, G20, it's a waste of time. 207 million black people in the world. You cannot now be discussing and say, we are there because I was the one. By the way, the first political office that was held by Professor Yemi Osinbajo was not given to him by Asiwaju Tinubu. He was special advisor to the former Attorney General of this federation. That is a federal appointment. It's like somebody now appointing me in my state later on in the future now and say, oh, he made me career-wise. I'm already a board member in a federal agency chosen by Buhari. So Buhari leaves office and then somebody appoints me somewhere in my state now as a commissioner. The person will now tell me, oh, I should be loyal to him for life. Politics is not a secret cult. Politics is about service. Politics is about giving back. And the vice president thinks that he has the wealth of knowledge and experience to give back. And he holds it not just to himself, not just to his family, not just to his children, not just to the people of Ogun State and the Southwest Nigerians to present himself, but to the people of Nigeria.
Okay.
To all humanity.
Okay, Engineer Oluwagbemi, we're going to start inviting people to join this conversation so that it's not a one-way conversation. But very quickly, as briefly as you can make it, if you were to take a look at the statement by the Vice President, he was talking about completing projects initiated by the Buhari administration. Really, I mean, what does he want to complete? Because there are some persons who have been saying, under President Muhammadu Buhari, not much has been achieved. 7 months down the line, in terms of completing the tenure, and that, what really does he really want to do? Because nothing has changed. So what does he want to complete? Is it the high inflation rate, continuity in that regard? Or is it the high poverty rate in the country? Is it the subsidy that has been moved from 442 billion to about 4 trillion naira? Is it the deficit that has gone on? Is it the promise of more borrowings and greater hardship, high unemployment rate, and all kinds of distortions within the economy? More importantly, insecurity in the land, from Benue to Taraba to Anambra to Plateau.
Nigeria is work in progress. The Almighty God is not finished with Nigeria. We are work in progress. You talk about what does he want to complete? He wants to complete the infrastructure revolution that PDP could not find a dime to put towards massive infrastructure rebuild of this country for 16 years, despite earning so much revenue and wasting it and filtering it all on frivolities. He wants to complete the building of the railway network. He wants to complete the 13,000 kilometers of federal roads now under reconstruction after they were destroyed by 16 years of neglect. He wants to complete the work of rebuilding the social infrastructure of Nigeria by investing more in the social investment program in order to give the children of the poor some succor. He wants to complete the agricultural revolution to ensure that Nigeria stop importing food that we continue to import under 16 years of PDP administration that saw us importing almost all our rice needs as of 2015. And now today we are almost exporting. He wants to complete the fixing of our energy infrastructure, including the refineries that are now under rehabilitation. And hopefully, in the next few years, Nigeria will not be exporting a single pint of crude oil, courtesy of the investment of NNPC and various other private stakeholders, including Dangote Group and Walter Smith Corporation. He wants to complete the entire revolution of the education system. So, by the way, what we all have to understand is that to destroy a nation is very easy. It's like a building. You can throw in a fire and the entire building that was built for over 3, 4, 5 years will come down. But to rebuild is even harder than building, because if you were building in the first instance, you do not have debris. I'm an engineer, so this is my analogy. If you are building in the first instance, you have a flat land, you can go in there, you can create your foundation and you can build. If you are rebuilding, you're going to have a debris because there's a collapse already. So what you need to do first is to remove the debris. And interesting is that while you are removing the debris, the arsonists, the people that destroyed it, will be shouting, "Oh, you're not doing anything. You are not building anything. You are doing it." That's what we're seeing. The PDP that destroyed this country are making so much noise while we are removing the debris. And even when we started building the foundation, "Oh, you've not built anything. Where's the shiny new building you promised?" 16 years to destroy or more if we include all your military collaborators. And we're trying to build the foundation. The foundation, a few part of it in different aspects, because there are foundation for different things. For example, in the military, just yesterday, $1 billion of equipment was approved. Additional equipment for our military. When Muhammadu Buhari took over power in 2015, Nigeria had 2 functional fighter jets. 2 functional fighter jets. When he left this country in 1985, Nigeria had a fleet of over 120 fighter jets, including Jaguars that are today moribund, are sitting down the Makurdi Air Base. They were destroyed after I left government. Today, that inventory has gone up from 2 to over 60, including the 12 Super Tucanos, a new order of light L-39 attack fighters of 2 squadrons that was just ordered, in addition to the 60 I just mentioned, refurbishment of the C-130 fleet. I can go on and on. That is the job. It's difficult. Nobody, and I know, yes, the president asked for the job. And by the way, while he's doing the job, new problems will be created. I give you an example of this insecurity issue. Boko Haram has been dealt with. Today now, ISWAP are taking over all all of them are running helter-skelter. They are surrendering every day. General Christopher Musa, who is my friend, is the leader of the Northeast operation of the Nigerian army. I speak to him every other week and congratulate him when our boys take down the enemy. But the enemies just have to be right ones. Do you know how many times they tried to make an attack on the rail? If they succeed once, all of us will start shouting. In my opinion, maybe we should just hold our breath a little bit. Maybe we should contribute more to the military. Okay. Only 80,000 members of this country have a member of their family in the military. Only 80,000 households. Okay. And we have 40 million households. So maybe we should do the job without our distraction. And this is where I stay. I do not think that you will fix or rebuild Rome in one day. I think the job is active, and I think the vice president will continue and complete the job. Okay, Engineer Oluwagbemi, well, I mean, at this point, sorry to butt in there. We need to get other people involved in the conversation. And if you are still with us on this program, you are listening to City Talks with Reuben Abati on City FM 1051 FM. And if you want to be part of this conversation, you can join us on 0700 1051 1051, on WhatsApp on 09099 164403, and on all social media platforms at City 1051. And our guest is Engineer Oluwagbemi, an associate of the Vice President, a supporter of the Vice President, a member of the Osinbajo support group and campaign group, and he's been trying to make a case for the Vice President's declaration. But we'll take the calls, and our guests will be most willing to respond to some of the issues that may be raised. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Your name, your location, and please be brief.
Okay, I'm Amaka calling from Ikeja. Okay, I'm listening to what the engineer was saying. Sorry, I forgot his name. But somehow I'm kind of impressed with what he's saying. I believe that some of the things you have said, I might not know them, but they make sense to me. So if he's running with this comment, like I said, I want to believe that sincerely about Osinbajo is the right candidate. And if you ask me, I will go and dust my card and vote for him. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Engineer Oluwagbemi, before you respond, let's take another caller. Who again is on the line? Hello? Okay, maybe Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi, you go ahead and... Hello? Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
My name is Prof. I like that your guest. He had the strength and the energy to speak very well. I support him in some extent because this country, you need someone that is inside the cupboard to rule this Nigeria, not someone that leading the government 5 years, 6 years, 3 years. Because when they came back, they came for revenge. You should find person that is still inside, is still exists. Not person that is staying outside. They want to say that my people say, I'm not calling you anytime. But Osinbajo is my man. I like him. I'll give him my vote. But he should take it easy because they are very angry with him because he's supposed to resign since I leave that worry. He's supposed to resign and leave him and stand alone. That's my contribution.
Okay. Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi, if you could just respond to these two interventions.
Yeah, I think what you are saying is what we have seen on the field. Nigerians get it. I think I always tell people that we don't give Nigerians a lot of credit for what they know and what they understand about politics. And that is why even in 2019, the opposition was surprised. Nigerians understand it. They live this life. You know, I am a farmer, okay? And I interact with the farming community, which is 70% of our population, by the way. And they understand that the gut feeling that, look, there's a team that used to just ignore us. There's a team that is in office now that is trying to do everything to make sure that we produce for the country. But the farmers are not on Twitter. They are not on Facebook. They are not on your radio station. And so everybody thinks the noise of the elites who have lost out because there's no money to steal anymore, no contract racketeering, as they used to do. And the money is now redirected into agriculture and infrastructure. Oh, Buhari is bad. Vice President is dead with it. It is a lie. An opinion poll was conducted. Let's go with the numbers. I'm an engineer. I don't do emotions. I do numbers. The vice president is the best positioned person to succeed the president. And people understand that the problems were created over a long period of time. We talk about 16 years because, okay, we did not elect the military. But it was started way before that. And to fix it, we require somebody that understands it. Look, what you see from the outside is different from what you see when you get inside. This president knows it better than most, and this vice president. When they came into office in 2015, they thought, oh, maybe they even still had a semblance of what the president left in office in 1983. When they opened the cupboard, they saw the rot. They saw the rot. A military that, and Nigeria has 5,000, over 5,000 kilometers of land borders between Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Benin Republic. And we only had two fighter jets in an entire country. We were naked. And the Boko Haram just came in and just took over the territory, occupied local government, set up their own emirates. So you cannot, as at 2015, Boko Haram was bombing in Nasarawa State. There were reports that the DSS picked up members of the Boko Haram in Lagos. For me to get into a church, a worship service during the inauguration on May 29, 2015, we had to go through magnetometer. There was bombing in Yanya, in Nasarawa State. There was bombing in Banex, in the UN building, in this day. Bombing in Kaduna. Bombing of the mosques that almost killed the emir of Kano then. So the entire country was under siege. Today we are talking. Everybody wants to talk about insecurity. Then they were bombing the police headquarters. So we have been able to roll back the enemy, fight the enemy, rejuvenated a multinational task force in Lake Chad, retool the military to be able to have fighter jets, eyes in the sky, improved ammunition. There's no stealing of military acquisition. $2.3 billion looted in the NSA office.
Okay.
No jets were delivered.
Okay. Engineer Oluwagbemi.
There was a procurement. Hold on, sir. There was a procurement of helicopters, and they paid double the price of a new one, and they delivered 2 helicopters that were not flying. One of them was flying, it crashed and killed our military men.
Well, Engineer Oluwagbemi, I know there's a lot that can be said about blaming the past.
No, we are not blaming the past. What I'm saying is
blaming the PDP.
We are not blaming the past. This is the reality. Nobody's truth. When you can talk, I've given everybody the freedom to talk about how bad Buhari is, how that. So let me to tell you where we started from.
No, I want more persons to be part of this conversation. The reality will be clearer, I guess, after the Buhari administration leaves office. And then some people may well come up with a new set of facts. Yes, there's another caller on the line. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, now. And God bless you for picking this call. Your guest has said it all. Even the three have just took us through now, where we were picking flesh in Abuja anytime there is bombing. I remember then, sir, anything 8 o'clock, I must take my food before watching the news, because we know what we'll see on the news. Most of our market was a no-go area. Bus stop in Abuja was a no-go area. Even Keke Napep, bombing inside Keke Napep. The garb-wearing ladies were blowing their smoke in our cities in the north. But it's as if Nigerians have forgotten all this. Sir, Vice President Osinbajo, my candidate all the time. And he has become, I won't say more than that.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have another caller on the line? Engineer Oluwagbemi, the last caller was supporting you.
Hello?
Then we have this other caller. Please go ahead, sir.
Dr. Abati, Reuben from Congo. I want to say that, number one, I want to tell the man that was saying that let's not begin to dwell on the past. Because what we expected is that was why we voted them in 2016. I mean, we voted out the Toyota in 2016 because we saw that the way the things were going on, insecurity was not palatable. We voted them out. And they gave us an assurance. Even President Buhari told us that he's going to lead at the front while others will be following. And I guess today, security is even worse than what we experienced during the Jonathan time. Number one. Number two, a bag of rice was sold for 7,500. I buy a bag of rice 75. Today, a bag of rice is about 37,000. You want to talk about food items? What are we talking about? All we are saying is that, yes, by the pedigree of my beloved brother, Professor Osinbajo, when Buhari left that place, it's a satire. So let us face the fact. There are little you can do when you are a vice president, unless they give you an assignment. It's a satire. But when the president is in charge, but when the president left, when he went to for treatment, we saw what Osinbajo did. It was uniting the whole nation. People were happy. They saw the atmosphere. There was fresh air. Then when he came back, it was another thing entirely. So what we are saying is that, what are you going to do differently? Don't mention PDP again, because I'm getting tensed up. But we thought you decided you are going to do it. Today, we are not doing what you are doing. I mean, let's face the reality. But failure, you have not done anything. What your man is going to do differently is what you want to hear. God bless Nigeria in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Okay, Engineer Oluwagbemi, I'm sure you heard him. What is your man going to do differently? He thinks that not enough has been done. And it's not enough to just blame
everybody. Like
PDP.
I said, everybody is entitled to their opinion in democracy, and we have to respect it. He talked about the price of rice. I'm a farmer. I will not want the price of rice to go down from when Osinbajo came to office and when he took over. I want the price of rice to go up. I want farmers to have more wealth. So let me just, nobody wants the reduced prices of their commodity. That's deflation, and deflation is a bad thing. Japan has not been able to recover from deflation since 1988 till today. So as a student of economics, deflation is bad. Inflation is okay, provided we can manage it.
And I guess it's okay for the people of Nigeria to suffer.
It's not okay.
And unable to eat.
Suffer. No, hold on now. Hold on. Don't put words in my mouth. It's not okay for the people of Nigeria to suffer. It is okay that we are paying for our own rice. We are not importing rice and importing poverty with it and exporting jobs. The rice that is paying more for today is Nigerian rice. The rice he was paying very little for before was imported rice. So let me be very clear on that. The rice he was paying for before was creating poverty in Nigeria that is now leading to banditry and attacks, because those people that were not employed in those days don't have jobs today, and now they are the ones that are involved in terrorism. If we had employed them in those 16 years, sent them to school, they will not be bandits today. So please, everybody will have a right to query Mr. President, but it's good that the same man, and this is interesting about Osinbajo, people that even do not like the president like him. He's a good product. But he asked a question, and I will answer his question honestly. What will the vice president do differently? The joy of every father is that their son do better than them. The president will like President Osinbajo to do better than him. And the one area which I see there's a need for improvement is in the area of communication and bringing people together. Vice President Osinbajo is a great communicator. Because when a country is going through a difficult period, like we are going through as a country, the work of the leader is to communicate consistently. Communication is never too much. And I think he will do that very differently, such that even when you are feeling the same pain you are feeling under this current government now, it will feel better to you while feeling that pain, because you are being communicated to. So I think that will improve. In terms of bringing people together, the vice president will go out of his way to bring those people who do not agree with him together. He is a pastor who has best friends, his chief of staff, as a Muslim. He is a professor of law who does not discriminate whether his children, his students are Christians or Muslims. He teaches them all the same. He can bring all these people together and he can harness the best of Nigeria to ensure that Nigeria gets the best out of everybody. These are the things he will do differently, aside from the fact that he will complete. Go and write it down. I'm not going to shy away from it. He will complete every infrastructure project that is started by Muhammadu Buhari, and he will do more. Okay. He will complete the agricultural revolution that is ongoing in Nigeria, so that Nigeria will eat what we produce and stop exporting jobs and importing poverty. Okay, Engineer Oluwagbemi, we have very limited time. The next two interventions, if you can keep your responses extremely short, so that we don't overshoot our time. We'll take this call and then I'll ask you a final question. Please go ahead and please be brief, knowing that we don't have much time left.
Good afternoon, Doctor. This is Tunde from Obawale. With all due respect to your visitors, Engineer Oluwagbemi, the question you asked, if I'm correct, you are asking what is that he wants to complete? Is it the inflation or whatever? But his answer was 16 years of PDP, 16 years of PDP. Why is he telling us PDP 16 years? That one has been bygone. What do they have in table for us? They should stop telling us 16 years of PDP, 16 years before they come to power and promise us heaven and earth. And quoted them. But instead of us having a relief of what happened, we are having trouble problem upon ourselves, killing every day. If you address the question you're asking, not the 16 years of PDP. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, Engineer Michael Oluwagbemi, very briefly, if you could respond to that, and then I'll ask you the final question before we wrap up.
It's a choice of anybody to highlight what suits them. It's the democracy. That's what we fought for. You won't tell me not to talk about PDP. I will talk about PDP. I will talk about it as long as I live. How they destroyed this country for 16 years, and how they mismanaged the opportunity to put Nigeria on a permanent path of growth.
Okay.
I will talk about it. But at the same time, I will also talk about the plans for the future, which I have. I've talked about social investment program. 10 million children in this country that are eating today, every day in school. We're not eating under PDP. Yes, when PDP was earning billions of dollars and they were looting it. The over 60 jets that are in the inventory of Nigeria Air Force today allowed us to chase Boko Haram back into Chad and Niger. They were not present under PDP. Now they are. So please, I will talk about PDP, but I will also talk about what we will do and what we will continue to do. The infrastructure revolution will continue. The harming of our military will continue. And the agricultural revolution will continue. Okay. In addition to that, we will communicate better and we will bring people together. Okay. And more young people are going to be involved in governance.
Yeah, Engineer Oluwagbemi, I need to wrap up this program very quickly. One more question. Does the Vice President, does he have the structure to pursue this ambition? He has already moved from Lagos State to Ogun State. Does he even have any structure in Ogun State? And his fight with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you may say fight in quotes, but that's what it looks like. Is this another Awolowo Akintola saga? The big man and his subordinate fighting, and what are the implications for the Yoruba nation? Very briefly, because we need to go.
Nah, it's not an Awolowo Akintola. The only parallel between Awolowo and Akintola is that there's one man from in both sagas. There's a man from Ikene. Outside of that, there are no parallels. This is a friendly battle of years between colleagues. Asiwaju Tinubu is 70 years old. His Excellency is 65. Both of them are old enough to choose their political path and destiny. And I think they've chosen it, and they've presented themselves. Both of them are honorable men who have presented themselves for the highest office in the land. I think we owe it to them as citizens and as party members to evaluate both of them and decide who does not just have the capacity, but also the one that has experience, and also the one that can deliver based on their physical, mental, and overall well-being. That is it. That's what we're talking about. And more importantly, the one that can win in a general election. If everything that we are talking about, if we could select a candidate that cannot win in a general election, then we're in trouble. Or the candidate that allows the PDP to be competitive. So in our own case, we need to look at that and make sure that we have a candidate that the moment we choose that candidate, the PDP is limping. And that's why you see that the PDP has been trying to, using Perogi and Reno, who are their members in disguise, to attack us, just to make sure that
you don't have a proof in that regard, I'm sure.
No, Reno Omokri is a member of PDP. He's not.
Yeah, but Farouk Perogi is not a politician. He's an academic.
He's doing their job. He's doing their job. They want to destroy Osinbajo so that they don't confront a strong candidate. You understand the game? No problem.
Anyway.
But talking about structures, the vice president structure is you, the people of Nigeria. It's not depending on any money bag. It's not depending on any bullion van. It's not depending on any kind of traditional structures, to say. And it's not going to be the first. I told people, I said, look at the history of Nigeria. Tafawa Balewa was not the richest legislature in the First Republic. President Shagari was the poorest presidential candidate in the history of Nigeria when he won in 1979. President Olusegun Obasanjo was broke coming out of prison. President Yar'Adua, by all accounts, was the least richest of all the governors that made a bid, including many of them that ended up in EFCC jail, including Ibori and Odili in 2007. And of course, President Buhari was the poorest candidate in 2015. How can go into history and history and history? The richest man generally does not win in Nigerian presidential election. 9 out of 10 times, the richest man does not win. The only time the richest man won, they never allowed him to be president. MK Abiola. That is your history for you.
Anyway,
Nigeria will prevail. Yemi Osinbajo will emerge as the APC candidate. And APC will trounce the PDP. I'm telling you, we will muslide them. Last time I predicted 59%, we ended up at 59%. Let me go on record. If Yemi Osinbajo is on that ticket, I predict 65%. APC will win 2 out of every 3 votes across this country. Thank you very much.
Okay, what is politics if it is not about optimism? And you've just confirmed that politicians are incurable optimists, but no problem about that. I would just like to thank you very much, Engineer Mike Oluwagbemi, for taking time out to join me on this program, City Talks with Reuben Abati, today on City 1051 FM, to discuss the presidential ambition of Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We definitely wish him well on this journey, and all of us are here watching. I also like to thank everyone who called in and those who joined us on Zoom and Facebook and other social media platforms as we live streamed this conversation from beginning to the end. But remember, the conversation does not end here. You can still reach out to me on my social media account at Abati1990 on Instagram and at City1051 on all social media platforms. For those of you who tuned in late, there's no need to worry. You can still visit our YouTube page, City1051, to watch the entire show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave comments. And don't forget also to tune in next week at 12 noon for another exciting edition of City Talks with Reuben Abati. My name is Reuben Abati. The show was produced by Charles Flames, Abiodun Oduton, Ayodamola Oludara, Oluwaseun Adetitun, and executive producer Adedoja Allen. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much for listening and watching. We'll join you again next Saturday. Bye for now.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.